All right, let's talk about positive affirmations. You've definitely heard of them, right? Maybe you've even given them a shot. But I'm willing to bet there's a big piece of the puzzle you might be missing. So we're going to get into the truth about what they are, how they work, and why they sometimes feel so weird.
I mean, have you ever actually stood there, maybe looking in a mirror, trying to tell yourself, I am successful, or I am confident, and you just feel, well, kind of ridiculous? If that's you, trust me, you are not the only one. It is an incredibly common feeling.
And this feeling is so real. People talk about it everywhere. Just take a look at this post from a Reddit user. They absolutely nail that cringe feeling that even their therapist picked up on. You know, that internal resistance is a huge barrier for so many of us. But figuring out why it's happening, that's the real first step to actually making it work.
Okay, so let's make sure we're all on the same page here. What are we really talking about? Well, Psych Central defines them pretty clearly. Basically, they're simple statements you repeat to yourself. The whole point is to challenge all that negative self-talk, those annoying, intrusive thoughts, and start shifting your focus toward what you're good at, your strengths.
Now, this brings us to the first big myth we need to bust. We see it in pop culture all the time. The idea that affirmations are like some kind of magic spell. You just say the words and poof, your whole life changes. The reality, though, is way more practical. It's much better to think of them as a mental workout. It's like going to the gym, but for your brain. You're building a new mental muscle, one rep at a time.
And this isn't just some feel-good idea. There's actual science here. Brain scans show that when you practice self-affirmation, you're lighting up the same reward centers in your brain, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, that get excited when you say, win some money. At the same time, it can help cool down your amygdala, which is basically your brain's fire alarm for fear. But honestly, the wildest part is this. Your brain often can't tell the difference between something you vividly imagine and something that's really happening. So when you repeat an idea, you're literally starting to lay down new tracks, new neural pathways in your brain.
And that science leads us to a really important distinction. We always hear about boosting self-esteem, right? Which is how you feel about your overall worth. But what research is showing is that it's way more effective to focus on something called self-efficacy. This isn't about your value as a person, it's about your belief in your ability to do something specific. It's the huge difference between saying, I am worthy, and saying, I am capable of crushing this presentation. That tiny shift in focus, it changes everything.
So how do we write these things so they actually build that capability and don't just feel like we're lying to ourselves? This 5-step guide is perfect. You want to start with I am or I am choosing to make it active. Use the present tense, keep it focused on a real goal, and make it short enough to remember. But step 5 is the absolute key. You have to make it believable to you, right now. If I am a super confident public speaker feels like a total lie, your brain's going to throw it right out. So try something like, I am learning to feel more comfortable when I speak in meetings. You got to meet your brain where it is.
Which brings us right back to getting over that cringe factor. If saying them out loud is just too weird, don't. Try writing them down in a journal, or maybe listen to an affirmations podcast. Let someone else say the words first. Here's a really cool trick. Reframe it as a question. So instead of, I am capable of success, ask yourself, why am I capable of success? It's a little bit of a brain hack. It shifts your mind from defending against a statement to actively looking for answers and evidence.
You know, the goal isn't to just download a generic list of affirmations off the internet. It's really about finding or creating just a handful that genuinely, truly resonate with you. Maybe it's about your job, maybe it's your health, maybe it's a specific relationship. The real power comes when the words feel authentic to your own life and your own goals.
And this is the most important reality check of all. Affirmations are not a replacement for action. They are not a magic wand. You have to think of them as a tool to crank up your motivation and self-belief so that you can go out and do the thing. They get you to the starting line feeling ready, but you still have to be the one to actually run the race. To really understand where affirmations fit into all this, it helps to see the bigger picture of how people actually change. This model here, the trans-theoretical model, is like a roadmap for personal growth. It shows that change happens in stages. You go from not even seeing a problem to thinking about it, to getting ready, to actually doing it, and then finally sticking with it. Affirmations are super powerful in those early to middle stages, helping you build up the belief you need to move forward.
And here's what that looks like in the real world. Let's say the goal is to improve a health habit. You start at, I'm fine. Then move to, maybe I should eat healthier. Then you're planning it, you're doing it, and eventually it's just how you live. An affirmation like, I am choosing to nourish my body, can be the perfect fuel during that preparation or action phase.
But what if you try all this and affirmations just are not your thing? That is completely and totally fine. They are just one single tool in a huge toolbox for personal growth. Things like talking to a therapist, practicing gratitude, celebrating your small wins. These are all incredibly powerful, proven ways to improve your well-being.
And here's another great tool that works a similar muscle. The idea here is to actively call out your anxious thoughts by focusing on what's actually factually true. Our anxious minds love to spiral into the worst-case scenario, right? This technique just forces you to hit pause and ground yourself in reality. It's a way of consciously reframing your thoughts, which is pretty similar to what a really good affirmation does.
So, at the end of the day, it's clear that affirmations aren't about magic. They're about intentional training. They're a way for you to consciously exercise your mind to build focus, resilience, and a real belief in your own power to change. And that really just leaves us with one final question. If your thoughts are a daily exercise, what will you train them for?